Okay.
All over the place.
Wow.
Sorry, I wasn't even looking. Can we try that again?
No.
No.
You missed your chance.
You get one chance to mark, and that's it.
But Eminem brings up that you get one chance like 4 times in the song.
No. You don't miss your chance to go. You only get one shot.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Solutions Brewing Podcast. Good crack there, Brendan. My name is Steven Sock, and I'm joined by Brendan Pipa and Robert Kalashuk. And today, it's actually been a while, guys. It's been literally a month since we've recorded. It's kind of
we could just say we were taking a summer break.
Summer break. Yeah, it's been a slow time, and there's not much going on. So, yeah, it's kind of a slow time. But we've lost Brendan.
That's all right. He'll come back.
He'll be back.
He'll be back.
But as a result, it's been a slow summer. We've had some good sales and stuff, but we had a client come by for a significant order recently, didn't we, Rob?
Yes, we have.
I
was being a jerk. I'll answer the question. Yeah, I mean, we have this promo that we've been getting into for the last few years with Sobeys, and so our latest beer, the Watermelon Goza Dark Ritual, is going to be featured here in Sobeys across Alberta.
Indeed, yeah.
And and that will be for the. You know what? We don't need to leave you in suspense. We can just tell you. It's going to be for the. Is that a long weekend?
September long weekend.
Yeah, the 29th to the, was it the 2nd then? Mm-hmm. We're featured in the Sobeys Choose Local program.
Yeah, so that's going to be it's going to be a nice promotion because it's still going to be very hot at the end of August and beginning of September, and our beer pairs very, very well with that. So it's going to be very nice for people to buy, and it's going to be nicely on sale. So we don't know what price it's going to go for yet, but generally they've put ours like $14 or less.
They usually price them quite nicely.
Yeah. So it's a great beer to have for the weekend, and especially September long weekend. And yeah, we're going to go through a good chunk of our stock. Actually, overall, we're redoing the Blonde and Friends Night Out. So we've been doing quite well with those so far, and we're ready to move those, get fresh brews of those going. So
yeah,
going pretty good. Yay! We're on the black side of the business. We're making enough money to make more money. This is good.
Yeah, to be kind of honest, I mean, for anyone who's listening is like, let's start a business. Well, be prepared to pay out of pocket for 5 years. because that's what it's come out to.
Yeah, there's very few businesses that make money in the first couple years. Usually it's just building up your base and building your product and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, for us,
maybe if we did a better job marketing, we suck at marketing.
Yeah, and maybe if we're a little bit more aggressive, if we didn't have if this wasn't really our side job than it is our actual job. If it was our actual job, I think we'd have the time and push way, way harder than we have been.
Yeah, mostly our marketing is the beer fests and the Sobeys promotions, right? That's
and us getting out to the liquor stores, though it's hard for us because it's either the weekends on the day of, because
our bars or restaurants too. We don't really all those people are available during the day, which we are not.
And yeah, so when you roll in on the evening, or I was going to say that's a typical Brendan there. By the time we roll in, they're like, oh, our liquor manager, or our other store managers, to see it on Mondays. So yeah, it's really hard to get that face-to-face connection and connect with store owners. But yeah, like, we're still here after many, many years.
Yes. So the beauty of doing this not in person, so we're basically using whatever online software. It's fine. Brendan's laptop has crashed. It's rebooted. So we're really all Steve and I are doing here, buying for time before we start the real topic.
Yeah, there was there's this great movie. I don't know if you ever saw it because I never did, but it's called the Greatest Beer Run. I'm just gonna look it up. Look at that. Yeah, the Greatest Beer Run Ever. So it came out in 2022, and it's about actually Zac Efron. Yeah, about a guy who basically sneaks into Vietnam to deliver some beer during wartime.
I remember seeing some trailers for that, but yeah, I think that was based on a true story too. That was
it is a true story.
Yeah.
And I say this because it is tied slightly into our topic for today, because the man literally flies into Hanoi, I think it is, and then gets to his platoon where he's literally delivers beer, and they think he's basically someone else because he basically nonchalantly wanders into the country, and goes from there. Brendan, you're back.
Yeah, it's a good timing, Brendan. Yeah. You're back. We're just setting you up to tell the whole story.
Yeah. So the reason why I bring this up is we had a client this weekend that had a rather large, large for us at least, a large 10-case order for various Solutions Brewing beers this weekend. And we could fill 70% of it. There was 30% that we couldn't do because we didn't have it in our cooler. It was all up at the AGLC warehouse in St. Albert. So 2 people hatched a daring plan to go up and go to the government building after requesting the beer and then going to get the beer.
Well, there wasn't much danger, but
but the method they did do it, because this
it's dangerous it was bad if you were a bird nest, but yeah.
The only way to get up and secure this beer in a single day without leaving straight in the morning and taking all the time in the world and all that kind of stuff was to fly. So these Rob and Brennan took, and I'm assuming it was Brennan's plane, took Brennan's plane on was it a 320 kilometer beer run? 650 return or something like that. So I'm going to hand it over to you, Brendan. Give us some details on how did it go?
Yeah, for sure. So I guess a little bit of context in a situation like this. They had ordered 3 cases of our Dark Ritual Watermelon Goza. We only had one in the fridge, which I wasn't aware of when I committed to the order. Normally, we would just go through one of our partner liquor stores with their next beer order and get it in that way. They usually get deliveries every week, and that's how we would typically deal with a quick turnaround item. Or we would do an RTV or return to vendor from the AGLC and just get it dropped off at the shop. But the timing on that's less predictable. So if you have more than 4 days, that's the way that we would do it. Both of those failed in this case. It was too late for the RTV, and the liquor store that we usually partner with for this kind of stuff had been slow in getting the Dark Ritual coded into their system, so they weren't able to get it in.
I wouldn't blame them. I mean, part of that is my fault, really, because usually I submit these registrations so that it's all good, and I had forgotten to send.
Well, I was trying to spare Rob there, but anyway, it's all good.
That was all our faults because none of us thought about that.
Exactly.
Silly us.
And I just assumed they're watching us on Liquor Connect for any time we release a new product so that they can get in on it. But regardless, so we were left with kind of 3 or 4 days to go before the delivery. Worst came to worst, probably could have changed it out for some of the other beers that we have in stock, but weather was looking good. and I'm always looking for an excuse to get up into the air. So Rob suggested, "Hey, why don't we fly up there?" And I was more than willing to try to figure that out.
Yeah.
So
Weather was awesome. It was a great flight. But it was pretty funny. So unlike driving a car, you can normally just jump in a car and drive away. For planes, it's a really good idea to do a walk around and make sure everything's tip top. And one of them was you kind of, I guess we should so Brendan's got like a hangar, but it's got 3 walls and a roof.
a tent hanger, yeah.
Yeah, tent hanger, right? So
it's enough to keep the hail
sealed. Yeah.
Right. So there's no like real front door or anything for this place. So what's really funny is and his engine's air cooled. So that means on the 2 sides of the propeller there are basically these holes so that while you're flying you can get airflow to help cool the engine. Right? Standard stuff. So one of the things you want to do is you just check to make sure you don't see like any leaks or anything off, and you look in there like, that's weird. And then we looked in there, we're like, that's weird. Brendan opens up the compartment and there's a whole bird nest in there. So we had to clean out this bird nest.
So I sent the picture to you. I sent the picture to you, Steve, by text, and we'll post this to our Instagram here as part of the whole story. But it's a bunch of, basically, as you're running by, the opening to look into the engine bay is relatively small, and usually it's just a quick check. And whenever I'm walking around with someone who's less familiar with the plane, I like to make a little bit of a joke. Okay, there's nothing living in here, there's nothing living in there, nothing living in the pitot tube. And I walk by the engine, I was like, there's nothing living in, and I just walk away, go to get a screwdriver to open up the cowling.
So it looks like in the picture that it was under construction but not completed.
It looks like it was kind of abandoned halfway through. The bird probably decided that it was a bad idea.
Yeah,
like, fuck this.
It turns out there was nothing living in it because there are no eggs or anything, and there weren't any feathers, which you would normally expect.
There was one feather. One feather.
Oh, okay.
I think the bird got snagged on one part of the engine and said, "Fuck this, I'm out."
It could be, yeah.
So anyway, that was the fun part at the start. It was a very good reminder of why walkarounds are important. And with Rob starting his flight training here as well, I thought it was a good lesson. Your training aircraft will never have this, but once you get out of that, then make sure you always do this. Never take it for granted. The training aircraft are always in a hermetically sealed hangar overnight, so much less risk of it. But so that was the start. Got the bird's nest cleared out, everything loaded up and ready to go. Started the engine, everything was looking good, going fine. The other interesting part of this is that, and I don't know if anybody else will have been tracking this, but there's a bit of a aviation fuel shortage in Western Canada.
Really?
Typically, I just fill up the plane at Airdrie where it's kept, but that tank has been empty for 3 weeks, or had been empty for 3 weeks at that point. So I had half tanks. I had enough fuel to get us up to St. Albert, but not enough to get back.
Oh, jeez.
And so there was, and then even leading up to it, I was calling the place. I was like, "Hey, do you guys have fuel to get up?" They're like, well, call us right before you leave. Maybe we'll have something."
Oh, jeez.
So it was a little bit interesting, and yeah, I did make the call right before we went wheels up. They're like, "Yeah, the truck just got here. Quick, get up here before anybody else does," sort of thing.
Yikes.
So that was a little bit fun. The flight itself was fairly routine. Like Rob said, beautiful day, pretty calm throughout. I had to fly through Edmonton's controlled airspace, which was super casual. Calgary airspace is usually pretty like, turn here now, go there now, go do this now. And Edmonton was like, "Yeah, we see you." We talk to the more important planes. I was like, okay.
You're how high? Oh yeah, don't worry about it.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, we'll tell you if there's anything you need to worry about. So to a couple points where like I was high and I was like, "Oh, I'm going in," and they know I'm going to this airport in the north side here, but I'm 4,000 feet above the airport right now. I should probably start. Just so I had to call them. I was like, "Hey, can I descend now?" "Oh yeah, sure, okay, whatever." And then I was getting close to Villeneuve Airport, and I was like, I think I should be switched over to the actual tower now. Like, I'm getting pretty close to the airport."
Okay, yeah.
I'm waiting. fucking, I'm just gonna ask him. It's like, hey, which runway's active here? Like, who do I talk to land? Oh yeah, you should switch over to the tower now. Okay. Talk to the tower, and tower's like, yeah, turn immediately. I was like, okay, fine. So got on the ground safe and sound. There was fuel there, which was great. Small world story. One of the guys, the guy that was working the FBO there, or the aviation club there, I went to high school with, Evan Rose. Mm-hmm. Didn't know that he had gone up that way, and so it's kind of one of those. Are you the Brendan people that went to Cochrane High? I was like, yeah. Hey, how about that? Worked out pretty well. Started fueling up. Turns out they did have a courtesy car that got checked in early, so Rob was in the middle of trying to call a taxi, and we're like, "Oh, we got a car."
So that's kind of nice, because the original plan was to Uber or something like that from the airport to the AGLC.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so then that's really good. Then you guys made it with plenty of time before the government agency shut down at like what 3:30, 4 o'clock on the dot.
Kind of. We had a little bit of a detour. We actually missed the turn into the warehouse. So we had to like take this extra big loop to come circle around and come back. But and then when we get there, we found out that there's actually two entrances. So one is for all the big semis, and one is for all the little vehicles, like for us.
So we turn in, and there's a big sign that says "No admittance with authorized personnel only." We're like, okay, yeah, that's fine. Clearly, we're authorized. We're here to pick up beer. Yeah. And that goes, semi trucks only, no like personal vehicles or anything like that. We're like, well, we're in an Escalade. That's a pretty big truck. I'm sure they'll like it.
Yeah, but then we pull up to the gate, and the window is like, whatever, 6 feet above us, because it's used to being a like semi truck.
Yeah, semi truck height. Yeah.
So like the guy's supposed to talk out of the semi truck window. We're way down below. They're just like,
so we're like, well, whatever. They'll tell us to turn around. They have to. We go. So we pull up to the gate. Then the gate just opens. I was like, well, I guess we're supposed to be.
Yeah.
And we're just driving by all these different semi trailers that are sitting there. Mm-hmm. I was like, okay, I wonder where we should go.
Yeah, it's pretty funny. So, I mean, basically, we were at the right place, like the right building. We were just at the back of the building, if you think of it that way, as opposed to the front.
Okay.
Which is where they would have wanted us before. So it wasn't like a big deal or whatever. They didn't even make a stink about it. So we get there, and the guy's like, "Oh, you have to wait because these other guys are on lunch. They'll be back in like 15 minutes." So, okay. I just sit here and wait. Wait. They're like, "Who are you?" I think they asked that question like 10 times.
Yeah. Who are you? What are you picking up? And I was like, it's 3 cases, guys. It's an RTV. The guy was like, is it picking up samples? Or I was like, no, it's an RTV. They're like, RTV for 3 cases. Okay.
Yeah, they're dealing with a lot larger volume for that stuff.
Probably. Yeah, so anyways, we go there, and the guy wheels it out. He has all 3 of them on a skid. I'm like, oh, look, these are 3 cases come with a skid. So he just...
And he was moving them around with the pallet jack. It was awesome.
Yeah. So we just take
you don't want to lift them and hurt yourself.
Yeah. So we just take the 3 cases, throw them in the back of our car there, and we take off. Drive back. And then we're like, we haven't eaten yet today, so we go stop at whatever. Was that in St. Albert itself, or was it Villeneuve? I can't remember if that was part of the helmet.
Yeah, well, we stopped in St. Albert and then drove out back to Villeneuve, but just grabbed some sandwiches from the Sobeys there.
Oh, perfect. Lumberjacks for the way?
Yeah, a single lumberjack sandwich. That's right.
Yeah. Yeah, because that's enough. That's a hefty sandwich. Didn't put you over the weight limit, did you?
No. That's a plain joke, people.
So, yeah, made it back to Villeneuve. Dropped off the courtesy car. Someone else was there to receive it. Dropped off some beer for the flight club there. Had already picked up fuel before we headed out, so we were good to go. And yeah, it was kind of fun being the guy that could just start and then jump the line. All the other planes were doing their run up and stuff like that, sitting off to the side of the runway. I was just like, oh, step up and go. Um, had a little bit of poor etiquette on my radio call timing for departure there,
yes, that's right. Yep.
But did you basically announce you were leaving as you were leaving?
No.
Oh, it was more me being too used to being at an uncontrolled airport for departure. So there was a guy in the circuit, and he had called in that he was like, "Hey, I'm in the circuit. I'm coming in to land on this runway and all that sort of stuff." And at an uncontrolled airport, you just say, "Okay, yeah," and then I'm going to take off.
Mm-hmm.
And I was smart enough not to actually like just say I'm going to take off. And I was like, "Oh yeah, I need to talk to Tower." So this guy called, and then I immediately called the Tower, and I was like, and so Tower, of course, responded to the first guy first. And I was like, "Oh yeah, I should have waited for that."
Yeah, call and response.
Luckily, the Tower was nice, and they're just like, "Yeah, get out of here."
So Villeneuve, was that because I've flown a little bit with you, Brendan. Is that more like a Red Deer airport? Is more like a Springbank airport, or is it more like the Airdrie airport?
It's more like a small Springbank. It'd be similar to what Red Deer is now. When you and I flew to Red Deer years ago, Red Deer was kind of still uncontrolled or only partially controlled.
Okay.
Now it's a proper controlled airport. It would be similar to Villeneuve in terms of the size of its control space and how it would operate and all that.
Yeah, so just big enough that you need someone to actually run it.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. And then, you guys got back and
got parked, got pictures of Rob carrying the beer away from the plane to the truck. And then
all in all, how long did it guys take you from your departure in Airdrie to basically back at the same spot? What was that, 3 hours?
4, I think, all told.
That's a really good time.
Yeah. We showed up at Airdrie at around noon, and we were back on the ground by 4-ish.
Something like that, yeah.
Maybe 4:15 by the time we got the plane parked and put away.
So yeah, that's counting everything. So it's like all the walk-arounds and all that kind of stuff, fueling up.
Yeah. So compared to driving up, which would have been closer to about 7 to 8 hours at that thing?
We were an hour in the air to get to St. Albert.
Okay.
1 hour and 6 minutes. Sorry. 1.1 hours.
Wow. So that was good. So we got beers, and how were they received by our buyer?
Very well received. Here, I'll send you the picture as well. And this is another one we'll post to our Instagram story there. But everybody loved it. And then, of course, it was for my aunt and uncle. They were celebrating their wedding. They got married in COVID, but this is kind of their delayed reception.
Okay.
So when they were giving their speeches, they had to do a call out that we did the flight up. It helps as well that my new uncle there is an aviation enthusiast, and half the people at the event were pilots, and so they appreciated the.
So they got a kick out of that.
Exactly.
Flew up for beer.
and everybody, there was a story somebody was telling about. Oh yeah, I knew a guy who owned a KFC in Hinton, and every other week he had to fly to Grand Prairie to pick up chickens.
Yeah, that's when all the stories come out.
So it was a good time, and it was a good story. They really appreciated the extra efforts we went to get them. Say they were very partial to the watermelon goza, the two of them.
Excellent. Well, I'm glad they liked it. Cool. So I was going to say probably not worth it every time we need to do a beer run to do that, but in special circumstances, Solutions Brewing will fly to make sure you get beer.
Hey man, no problems, just solutions.
Yeah, just solutions. And we are unique that we have one pilot and soon to be maybe 2 pilots.
Pilot
whenever
and training.
you take your test. Pilot and training. We have backup pilot. We've got a co-pilot. Awesome. Now I was going to say that's a pretty good story to come back to after we've been away for a little while. So yeah,
it was a lot of fun. It was a good excuse to get up in the air.
Hey, you got to make sure you have your hours.
Darn,
you got to maintain. Awesome. Well, Brent, since we've been talking so much about beer, Rob, if people wanted to, get in touch to us about, this trip, any other kind of interesting beer runs they've gone in their lives, or, where to even to get our beer. How would they do so?
The internet.
You can't hand wave it. Just can't say, look up Solutions Brewing. No. How would you
internet? Yeah. You go to our website at solutionsbrewing.com. I'm thinking of the email, which is noproblems@solutionsbrewing.com, which is where the contact us page also links to. So it's great. And of course, there's Instagram or Facebook at Solutions Brewing Co.
Where you will see some new pictures of going up very, very soon.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, let's going to say we're back to form for this week. We'll hopefully have got something new and interesting to talk about next week. But for now, well, thanks everyone for joining us, and we will talk to you guys next time.